Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight world class Asian entrepreneurs, C suite executives, and innovators who provide candid insights from their personal journey to inspire you. And this is your host, Priyanka Komla, on our 81st episode of CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast. A quick reminder to our listeners to drop in a quick hello and the country that you're tuning in from so we get a chance to acknowledge you as well. And if you're following us on LinkedIn or YouTube, do give us a follow, a subscribe, and a like and a thumbs up. So we continue to know how this episode has inspired you to be a better version of yourself. Without further ado, I have my special guest today joining from India, Mr. Girish Soman, who's the CEO of Nisarga Biotech. Hi, Mr. Girish. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning. Thank you
you.
for inviting me.
Thank you, Girish. And to our listeners, let's talk about who this amazing entrepreneur from India is. Mr. Girish Soman is the CEO, founder, and chairman of Nisarga Biotech with over 35 years of experience in the botanical extraction and agriculture industry. He is also the founder and chairman of CurryUp Private Limited, which is a leading player in organic agricultural inputs in the Indian market today. He's a proud alumni of IIT Bombay, and he's gravitated towards the field of agriculture back in the 1990s to resolve the issues of excessive usage of chemical fertilizers and pesticides faced by the farmers then. And from there, he's had a very incredible journey where I'm going to unveil some candid wisdom that he can provide to entrepreneurs and the future of healthcare as well. So, super excited to learn more about your journey, Girish.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you for your time.
So, Girish, let's start from your initial aspects of your career journey. So, your father was a builder and a contractor, and you started as a structural engineer. From there to the CEO of one of India's top biotech companies, and now towards your incessant work in terms of finding a cure for cancer. Tell us in a nutshell about your different pivots in your journey.
See, I'm a student by nature, so I've been learning all my life, right from my childhood. And I think it is always exciting to learn new things. And that is the probable reason that I always tried changing my track after every 5 years. Even in the business, I've been learning so much every day, and I really get excited when I'm learning new things. So, starting with engineering and ending up with now something for cancer cure or, you know, extracted herbs to be used for different healthcare applications. It's an exciting learning journey. That's what I believe, and that's what I really love, and I'm passionate about. So I think that was the prime motivation in starting the business in a different direction, and then continuing my journey. Thankfully, my partners and all my peers and everybody around me, they really appreciated what we have been doing. It's been an exciting journey so far.
So when you started into this entrepreneurial stint, you had three or other four, I should say, ideas in mind. And how did you zero in on the fact that you wanted to focus on organic extraction?
See, I was in touch with a lot of farmers because of my earlier occupation as a managing director of a company which was involved in designing high pressure pipelines for sugarcane growers. And I could see the plight of these farmers when they used to get excess water for their sugarcane, because sugarcane, when you are looking at the yields, the farmers have a misconception that if you use more water you will get more yield from the sugarcane. And when you get easy water uh, with the pressure pipelines, they tend to use excess water, and that really devastated the soil. In our area, there was about 10,000 hectares of black cotton soil, which was completely devastated because of excess use of water. And that actually was the driving force behind our idea of starting a business where we can provide organic options to the farmers who were seriously interested in cutting the use of chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Because they used to come and say, we really are seeing that this is devastating our farms, but we have no option. At that time, the government was also in India promoting chemical farming very aggressively. That was the reason why the farmers were helpless and they were using the chemicals. So we were amongst the first entrepreneurs in 1993 who gave options to the organic farmers in India who wanted to go away from chemicals and start using organic methods for using in their farms. And that was the reason why we zeroed in on this sunrise industry, because the other two businesses we started, we were just trying to make our living. But here we were working very passionately. We were giving back to the society when we started working for the farmers. And that really excited all of us. And we decided we were stupid young people at that time. I was 30 years old when we started the business. So everybody was feeling that we were crazy. We were knowing nothing about the farming. And how are we going to provide solutions to the farmers? Now we are considered as one of the leaders in organic farming in India as well as in our state. We are the highest selling brand in our state, and we are one of the top companies in India for providing organic inputs to the farm.
That's amazing. And as you rightly pointed out, when you're in your early stages of your career, people think that you have crazy ideas. But look at the foresight that you had about how organic extraction could be an industry that could impact the farmers in a very useful manner. So kudos to you for that wonderful idea. Tell us about the CO2 technology that you use to extract extract from organic herbs.
See, one of the reasons why we adopted to extract using carbon dioxide was the basic advantage of extraction of herbs at virtually room temperature. Because if you are boiling the herb, you are destroying a lot of temperature sensitive ingredients in the herb, and you're not getting them in the extract. That is the reason why we realized that the references given in the ancient texts, the performance was herb was not matching with the performance expected, because most of the users were using extracts made at very high temperature. When I went to IIT Mumbai for searching better technology, IIT Mumbai is the alma mater for me, and I went there, and when I started looking at the extraction technology, when I saw the extracts made using supercritical CO2, I realized that these are the extracts which will really change the quality of our product. Because at the end of the day, if the farmer uses the product and if the product is not effective, he is going to lose his income. And that was the motivation for us to deliver the best possible quality at an affordable price by using an extraction technology which was so far used only by German companies for extraction of hops for use in the beer flavoring. But we realized the potential of using the same technology for extracting the Ayurvedic herbs as well as herbs mentioned in Vriksha Ayurveda, the ancient treaty which states how to do organic farming. They don't know the word organic farming in these Vriksha Ayurveda treaties, but they say how to use natural substances to grow the crops naturally. And that is what is organic farming is all about.
I'm glad there is
So that
reference
is
in.
the reason why we chose the CO2 extraction technology in the first place. When we started into more detailing the technology, we realized that it is not just about the temperature of extraction, it is also the separation of the extract from the solvent, which is very critical in keeping the quality of the extract intact. Normally, when you are extracting the herb using any other solvent, the temperature of separation is always more than temperature of extraction. In the CO2 extraction, it is exactly other way around. The temperature of extraction is 39 degrees Celsius or 45 degrees Celsius, which is much way too below the normal temperatures in India, in many parts of India. The separation temperature is at least 10 to 12 degrees below the extraction temperature. So when you separate the extract from the solvent, what you get is a very pure, highly concentrated extract without the change in its original structure of the chemical present in the plant itself. And that is really exciting. That really excited us to explore so many of the applications we have evolved using this amazing technology in
No,
last 15 years.
that's very impressive. Where you look at the scientific ways of extraction, but also look at our ancient science for reference in terms of rich Ayurveda. No, I see you as somebody who looks at opportunities from different perspectives and is quick to pivot and figure out what are some ways in which you can create world-class solutions to problems. How do you do that? What kind of advice do you have for young entrepreneurs like, who are starting in their journey?
I think you need to keep your eyes and ears open, and you need to be a student all your life. Keep learning from your contemporaries, keep learning even from your competitors, keep learning from your customers. They are the best teachers you get because the customers will always give you a pointer to their requirements, a pointer to what are their unmet needs. And if you are able to figure out what are the unmet needs of your customer or your consumer, or for that matter, your society, I don't think there is any dearth of opportunities for any entrepreneur. That is my personal view. That is what I always try to tell all our team members also, that keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, listen to your customers, listen to what other people are saying about your product. Don't be afraid of criticism. Take the criticism in your stride and believe in yourself. You will always deliver a good product.
That's very impressive. It's you'll have a lot of judgments and opinions from people around you, especially with a technology like what you're dealing with. And I'm so glad you have this attitude that you need to keep moving no matter what everybody else says, as long as your eyes are set on your end goal.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your this product, Neurolife Herbal Blend, for which you also have a co-patent, and it's been awarded 2 US patents and several international patents, which are under your belt. Tell us a little bit more about that.
In 2003, we started, looking at the possibility of using these extracts for different healthcare applications. And one of the areas which was alarming for me was in case of children. I realized that many of these psychiatrists and psychologists, they have an issue with the hyperactivity of the children. Or, I could see around many of my, friends and family, I could sense that the kids were unnecessarily being overburdened because of their overactivity, or and it was labeled as attention deficit disorder, or they were being scolded by the teachers for being overactive. And when I looked at the options provided by the modern medicine, I was shocked when people were prescribing left and right steroidal alternatives for attention deficit disorder, which was going to become a major issue in India as well, not just in the United States. One of my friends in the US who was teaching in the primary school, she said that now they are having rules in the school that if your child is diagnosed for ADHD and if he's not given medication, he's not allowed to come to the school. And that was the motivational factor for developing something based on Indian Ayurvedic herb, which should give an effective and yet safe alternative for the use in ADHD patients. That was the reason why we started exploring different formulations, and with the help of my teacher, Dr. Sri Krishna Padke, we came up with a formulation, and conducted a huge clinical trial on 260 patients, you on aging between 7 years and 14 years, for improving the symptoms of attention deficit disorder. And we found that the product was working as good as the allopathic options, like the product called Statera, which is the first non-steroidal alternative for use in ADHD. So we, based on that clinical trial, we did the clinical trial for almost 2 years by offering medication free of cost to the children from the school, doing all ethical clinical trial with all the necessary permission. And based on that, we filed a patent in India, in the US, and in the Europe, and we got the patent for our Neurolife Blend, which is based on a herb called Jyotishmati. Jyoti means light, Mati means brain. So the herb itself is known as something which enlightens your brain if it is used in your children or in any ADHD patients.
That's very
So we got the patent for India as well as in US and Europe. We are already marketing the product in India as NeuroSmart. In US, we are marketing the product under two different variants called NeuroFocus and NeuroSteady.
That's impressive.
These are the
That's impressive. Thanks for sharing that. And it's very noble when you've started looking at healthcare applications of your organic extracts, which which you've quickly pivoted and found an opportunity where you can help the society and give back to them.
Absolutely. One of the other thing is, when I started studying Ayurveda, I realized that one of the most, important shortcomings for the Ayurvedic treatment has been that the extracts or herbs used for administering in the patients in India, the biggest challenge was whether the extract or the herb is pure, whether it is free from other contaminants which are likely to occur because of bad manufacturing practices, bad collection practices. So that is the reason why we started building a network of the farmers, and we started helping the farmers to get their farms certified and started using only organic material for extraction, so that our extracts are free from any contaminants like chemical pesticides or heavy metals as far as possible. And then we created a classic laboratory, in-house laboratory, which was approved by the Department of Science and Technology also as a research lab for making these extracts. And then we started ensuring the quality of the extracts by starting from the farm to the shelf of the consumer. We make sure that we have complete control on the chain of material as well as the processing. We ensure that we deliver a product which is quick acting, effective, and safe for all our users.
So the
that has been our focus.
That's great. So the farm to shelf concept is very unique, and you're looking at more sustainable practices. But tell us about some of the challenges that you face as part of your supply chain management, right from the farmers all the way to creating the product and giving it to your end consumer.
See, one of the biggest challenges for the getting the raw material is training of the farmers for proper collection of the raw material and ensuring that the processing is done at the farm itself in a sustainable manner and using the available natural resources without depending too much on external factors. So that was one of the biggest challenges. We use some of the herbs which are coming from ethical wild crafting. Now, when you say ethical while crafting, what does it mean? Actually, there is a concept of sharing the benefit. Even today, almost 70 to 80% of the Ayurvedic herbs are not grown in the farms. They are coming from the forest area. And in those forest areas, we have to train the local people to do sustainable harvesting. What it means is, for example, in our area, we are harvesting shatavari. Now, if you are harvesting the shatavari root, if you harvest all the roots from a plant, there is nothing left for regrowth next year. So we started conducting, you know, training programs for the collectors to understand that if they want to have a sustainable living, they should leave 25% of the material in the ground and harvest only 75% of the roots. Similarly, when you are taking out leaves from any plant, make sure that you are taking leaves only where the leaves are not useful, which are coming into shade, or you can just shave it off the plant without harming the plant. So these kind of trainings is one of the biggest challenges because not all the farmers are aware of the requirement of it. So that was one of the biggest challenges we were facing. So what we started doing was, because of our agricultural extension network, we could reach those farmers as well as ethical wildcrafters, and we could train them in understanding why it is important to do ethical collection or ethical farming, so as to ensure that their farms or their business is sustainable.
I like the fact that not only your company is looking at being socially responsible, but you're imparting that knowledge to farmers who are the frontline folks who can make a difference, to nature through sustainable practices. So kudos to you on that. We have a
I think we were also lucky to have very good customers like Aveda in the United States, who were very helpful in giving us resources for working with the local communities for improving their lives as well, by giving back to the society, by giving training to their next generations, teaching them how to ensure that water is conserved, how to deliver water to their homes so that the women don't have to walk for few kilometers for bringing water to their home. So I think it was an exciting journey with Aveda for helping the local farmers to get benefit out of the farms they were doing.
That's very impressive. We have a question from one of our live listeners, Pinaki Mishra, who is asking, how is your company or how are you contributing towards this COVID? So tell us about how COVID has affected your business model and your contribution to creating a better society through this pandemic.
In the first place, the COVID was a blow which was not expected by anybody for that matter. But when we actually were locked down in the month of March in India, the lockdown began in 21st of March, and I think it was for the first time in many years that I had an opportunity to be at home and spend time with my family, and also look at what could be the contribution we can make in terms of COVID. So first thing we did was we started looking at the data we have generated on different herbs. And as you may not be knowing, but I can tell you that we have been studying neem leaf extract with a very high amount of one of the compounds called nimbolide in our extract for treatment of cancer, in collaboration with one of the leading cancer research institutes in the United States called UT Health Center, San Antonio in Texas. I realized that one of the hallmarks of COVID was very high inflammation in the body, especially in lungs, and the cytokine storm caused by the viral infection. I then realized that our CO2 extract, which is very rich in nimbolides, can really give an alternative for not for just for the treatment, but it can even be used as a prophylaxis. So we started doing a clinical trial, which is now nearing completion, in 200 frontline workers in Faridabad. And I'm happy to tell you that the frontline data is very, very promising. About 67% success rate was noted while using the neem leaf extract for controlling the COVID infections in the frontline workers who were highly exposed to the COVID virus in the hospital. Now, we are still in the process of finally finding out the data, how it is really going to figure out in terms of biochemical markers. But as our, you know, uh, commitment to the society, the first thing we did was we distributed food packets around our farms to more than 500 families who were not able to get anything from the city because of the severe lockdown. Since our vehicles were allowed as a agricultural produce company's vehicles, we could take material to those farms and give away packets for those workers who have migrated from Mumbai to these villages out of panic, and they were not able to get any food at their places. So we distributed like 400 packets around our farm to make sure that these guys were taken care of. And then we also made sure that they were given our neem leaf capsules as prophylaxis so that they don't get infected or they don't become the transmitters of the COVID, since they were coming from Mumbai. And most of these people, they stay normally in Dharavi area in Mumbai, which is kind of a slum where people live in a very close proximity. Surprisingly, with you know, I think they have such a good immunity that there was hardly any case of COVID in their villages, in spite of being there. I don't know whether it was because of the neem capsules they were using or because of the immunity they had, a better immunity. I personally feel that COVID is in India now. It's going to be on the downhill, not really as severe as in the US.
Why do you think
And
so?
if you look at the infection rate, it has come down drastically in last couple of months, and then the infections are less severe in the cases where it has been noticed.
How do you think of the new UK strain that people are getting panicked about, especially for younger kids?
I really don't know. I have not seen the data because the data which is coming is talking only about getting infections quickly, but how severe the infection is, we do not know. And as Dr. Bhargav from ICMR has recently stated, that the COVID virus, the COVID-19 virus, is getting mutated. There are 5 mutations every week. So if there are going to be 20 mutations per month, there are already 130, 140 mutations. So I don't know why people are thinking that it is more dangerous than the earlier
Right.
COVID. Yeah.
That's a very
I,
interesting way of looking at it.
because otherwise, how do they know that this mutation itself is severe than the earlier 140 mutations they have noticed? I don't think there is enough scientific data to actually substantiate that claim. I think it's more like driving people to the vaccine rather than keeping them away from the vaccine. That could be one of the reasons. People, are not, almost 60% of the educated population in India is skeptical about using the COVID, just like COVID vaccine, just like in the United States. So probably they wanted to make sure that the percentage changes dramatically because of the new strain. Let us see what happens. Don't
Very true. Very true. So, how do you see the future of Nisarga Biotech as we look into 2021? What are some of the ambitious plans you have in mind?
One of the big projects we have been working, as I told you, was with the extract from the neem leaves, which is going to be one of the cheapest possible options for treatment of cancer patients, especially in head and neck cancer as well as in colon cancer. Of course, we are in the first phase of research. We are still not very close to the phase one trial, but we have completed all the clinical data, preclinical data. We have completed all the preclinical toxicological studies, and now we have enough, safety data in humans as well because of our COVID trial. So I foresee that we will be investing heavily and looking for partners to invest in making a new drug wherein we have the rights to the patent which has been done by us as well as the UT Health Center takes us for method of use for cancer treatment. So we are looking for partners who might be interested in investing because Nisarga Biotech do not have the kind of deep pockets to invest 200, $250 million till the drug is developed. But with our research, I am confident that a right company can develop this product into a drug with less than probably 50 or $100 million investment. And that will be a big plus for the cancer patients. As far as India is concerned, it is not possible to patent the method of use claims for the patent we have in US. So in India, we have also kept the uh, royalties to minimal for the UT Health Center, which is the owner of that patent. And our ambition is to give the product in India at such a reasonable price that anybody coming even from rural background should be able to afford our medicine for the head and neck cancer. And India, mind you, almost 65% of the cases which are diagnosed for cancer are head and neck cancer. So it will cover most of the cancers, and the mode of action of our neem extract is such that it will be effective for many more number of cancers. It can be effective on prostate cancer, it can be effective on breast cancer as well, and it can be used for those who are having palliative care in cancer. And even if you extend the lifespan by 1 month, it is a big deal in the United States. So
That's
I
very
believe that with the right partners, Nisarga can really, encash on its hard work for last 10 years along with UT Health Center, Texas.
that's very
And
impressive.
I'm hoping to start the safety trials for the product in next couple of months in one of the cancer hospitals in India.
How conducive
That
is
will be
the
a big project for us, and it
right?
will be a big opportunity for partnering with our company as well. For those who are interested in investing in cancer research.
I wish you all the very best as as you pivot into this journey of curing cancer. But tell me this, Mr. Girish, how conducive is the Indian policies, the government policies, and the framework to focus on drug research and giving more elevation and upliftment for companies like you?
I think there are schemes, but unfortunately in India, the kind of money available for research uh, will not help in reaching the stage of drug. But the basic research can be done in India, and that is what we are really doing. Because the government is having so many other priorities in their day-to-day working, they have so many issues. I don't think Indian government has the capability to invest the kind of money which has been invested in Europe or in the US. So we are looking at partners from Europe or US for taking this to the
Well, we wish you all the
Indian
very best.
companies. I don't think there is any Indian company except for handful companies who are doing it. They are more into allopathic research, and what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a kind of a drug which will have much lower side effects, but which will have very effective treatment option for those who cannot afford the cancer treatment offered by the conventional pharmacy.
I'm glad your focus is on more affordability, and that's what the Indian community needs as well. So the accessibility factor is very critical, especially for treatments and drug usage. So thank you for thinking of giving back to the society.
I think
All
it's
right.
part. It's a part of our culture. So I think new
Right.
about
We have a fun rapid fire round for you. Are you ready for it?
Sure, no
So
problem.
we'll ask you a fun question, and you tell us the first thing that comes to your mind in one word. First one being, who's your role model?
Ratan Tata.
What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness is all about sharing.
How do you define success?
Success is in the eyes of beholder.
I like that philosophy. What is one fun thing about Mr. Girish when he's not at the helm of his biotech company, or is always looking for next opportunities? What is one fun thing that you do?
I would say evolving.
So you're always in that work mode.
Yes,
So
evolving for new things always.
what is your native language, and one word to describe yourself in that language?
It's the local language is called Marathi, and I would rather describe myself as dhadasi,
What does it mean in English?
adventurist.
That's a perfect way to sum up Mr. Girish Soman. Thank you so much for being on a show. And I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot about, the process and technology behind organic extraction and some of your major ambitious goals. So thank you. Do you have any parting thoughts to our listeners?
Now, I would like to thank you for inviting me on this platform, and I wish you a very happy and healthy 2021 ahead of us. And hopefully, the COVID clouds will go in next few months.
We wish the same for everyone. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Pinaki Mishra, for that wonderful question as well. And we'll keep our lines open as we wrap up this episode. There's one free mentoring session that Mr. Girish Soman will be providing to one lucky listener of ours. So continue dropping in your questions, comments, or key takeaways, and we'll pick one lucky listener in the next couple of weeks. Until another episode that's going to happen tomorrow, this is your host, Priyanka Komla, signing off. And one key takeaway on episode 81, Mr. Girish Soman, the CEO of Nisarga Biotech, is face criticism and don't take it to your heart. That's one important philosophy that young entrepreneurs need to know. And as a bonus, always be an adventurer, be an opportunist looking for ways in which you can contribute to the society in a sustainable and ethical manner. So thank you again, Mr. Girish, and we wish you all the very best as you're looking at innovative ways to give back to the society and help people through the healthcare applications of organic extraction of herbs as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Girish. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week on CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight world-class Asian entrepreneurs, C-suite executives, and innovators who provide candid wisdom from their personal journey to inspire you. If you're following us on LinkedIn, continue to hit the like or the comment button so you can drop us a comment by following me, Priyanka Komla, or our CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast page. If you're watching this on YouTube, do subscribe and give us a like. And if you're hearing this on any podcast streaming platform, leave us a review and a rating so we know how this podcast is inspiring you to be a better version of yourself. Thank you.